Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. YouTube people, we left you last night. If you're watching this on Saturday, we had like a 2 hour long thank ganja. It's Friday, and we didn't get to do a few things that I think are important, and that is a preview of the debate coming up this Thursday, the 27th. There is a debate going on. I know you heard of it. If you haven't, it's obviously between Trump and Biden. And the Trump campaign, the outlets that love him are saying some strange things. We're going to watch it. We're going to respond to it. We're going to tell you what we think you should expect. And I just want to introduce, of course, my illustrious, illuminated, well-informed, and intelligent Laura Malcolm, my co-host. How you doing, my dear?
Cheers, Bruce. Here we are again.
Here we are again. Here we are again.
Heating
We
up.
left him hanging.
Things are heating up. Sure, now that RFK is out, so
Yeah, actually, that's important.
yeah,
he he tried to what he said he's going to sue to get back
he's
in.
going to sue CNN for his own inability to qualify for the debate.
Yeah, it's sad. It's embarrassing. You
He
got to
wants
know.
them locked up, and uh, I mean, if you thought he was nuts before,
Uh, the what's worse than that is we find out that the guy who's giving $500 million to the Trump campaign is also supporting his campaign, and it's become so obvious what you're in it for. You're in it. People, even if you don't think so, YouTube, understand that the people giving money to the campaigns think so. He's in it to help Trump win, right? So I'm glad that he's not in there, and his acting upset and guffawing is funny to me. But he's not in it. The people who are in it, though, are acting strange, i.e., the Trump campaign. Now, I just want to show you some videos. Laura, we're going to have to discuss this.
Prepared for that.
But listen to this.
The former president, took on the challenge. I don't think he'll regret it. However, the Joe Biden that we're talking about tonight, I don't think will be the Joe Biden we're going to see on debate night. I think the Joe Biden we see on debate night is going to be the guy that we saw at the State of the Union. He's going to be all hyped up, hyper caffeinated, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
It's interesting that 70% of the country does like the idea of drug testing. I like the idea. They do it to athletes. They do it to horses in horse racing.
Right.
Why not do it to presidential candidates? I like the idea.
Let's even find more things we do to horses to do to presidential candidates.
Let's just start with that. There's a lot more to go through, but let's start with that. This idea of every time they mention the debates coming on, Fox News, the right wingers are saying, "Oh, Biden's going to be drugged up. He's going to be coming out with a hyper caffeinated, whatever that means." I see this, and I want to know what you think, Laura. I see this as, I know they're going to be cheating, is the way to kind of soften the crowd so that they're not as confused that when Biden comes out, he's not what they've been saying for the past 4 years, some guy who can barely walk, crawling on his knees, and talking with a slur because he's just so demented and old. What's your assessment on how they're talking about this?
well, Trump has also been claiming at his rallies lately that it happened just last week that they found $100,000 worth of cocaine in the Oval Office, which is a complete exaggeration of a tiny little half-gram bag that was left in a cloakroom 11
Right,
months ago.
right, exactly.
Yeah, but Pac-Man, speaking of Pac-Man, did a great rundown with, I think it was Rubin, the one that also got embarrassed by Megyn Kelly.
Oh yeah, Dave Rubin.
Yeah, Dave
Yes.
Rubin, where he went down the list of alleged performance-enhancing drugs that Biden could possibly be on,
Oh my
and
God.
how the effects of explaining why their effects would do nothing to allegedly improve whatever dementia Biden is going through, for one thing. and the length of time that certain substances would last, and and he's telling Ruben, well, you name it, this drug that you're alleging he might be on, name it, and how it helps him, and he couldn't,
Of
of
course not.
course.
I think it's hilarious, and it shows us exactly where they are and what they know. When you get Hannity saying for the first time that Joe Biden isn't wandering off and falling over in his dementia, but I think he's going to show up, just like he did for the State of the Union, hypercaffeinated. It is the very first sign that they know. They know that Joe Biden is going to go in there and show the fool, the naked emperor, the king without clothes. They're going to show him naked. What do you think about that?
Making the expectations low, and Biden will blow Trump out of that shark-infested electric water.
Exactly. Let's see what else the right is saying here.
We're at it, right, Sean?
70% of Americans apparently agree with me. However, what do you expect for the debate?
Yeah, well, this is nothing new, of course. The cards have always been stacked against Donald Trump since the day he came down the escalator.
The response is, what do you think about the debate? The cards are stacked against Trump. Do you mean the guy who has been grifting and stealing and holding on to documents and has, for the first time in his life, ever been prosecuted for the deranged things that he does and the illegal things he does? The cards are always stacked against him. The only person who had 15 gag orders and violated all of them and has never gone to prison. The cards are always stacked against him. Here it is again. Like, if it happened to be that by the grace of God, Trump comes out there and just does an amazing job. For some reason, finds something inside of him that is just amazing and doesn't babble and look crazy, he won't only have won, but he'll be God himself. But for the most part, he's expected to lose because the cards are stacked against him, and it won't really matter.
Well, I'm still on the fence of whether he'll show. I still pretty much lean towards, he'll show for the first one. But I have a feeling he might walk off.
Really?
Throw up his hands and walk away and pull something like, who is that other MAGA candidate, somewhere in Colorado or someplace?
Yeah.
That walk off the debate stage? He might pull some shit like that. We'll see.
Now that's interesting. I didn't think of that. I didn't believe that he would show for a long time until now that it's him not showing would be a sign of weakness because of all of the bluster that he's put behind it. So we know that he can't do that. He cannot show that. But walking off to his crowd could be a sign of strength, even though we know it's a sign of absolute weakness, right? I think him saying, well, I don't have to do this, I'm going to walk off, would be a bunch of cheers from people watching on their TV. Which brings
because CNN is so rigged and fake.
Exactly. I never thought of that. I'd be watching for that because his main thing is interrupting and stopping and speaking so much and lying so fast that people can't respond. But when the mics are turned off and you can't do that, it's going to be tough. But that brings me to the second.
Make him nuts.
That's going to hurt. But that brings me to the second point. There's people who think this, and we showed this clip yesterday, but there's people who think this, and I really want to know how do you take this?
Would be a huge win because they can cherry pick this walk on a plane, this walk to the podium and say he's shuffling, he's feeble. When he's standing mano a mano against Donald Trump, and if he knocks it out of the park like he did the last State of the Union, how could you possibly say this guy can't get a word out?
Absolutely, 1,000%, because the American people are going to also come face to face with the fact that Donald Trump is not just old, he's also an idiot, right? And when they see that, they certainly do not want someone as dumb as him and as crazy as him back in the White House. And that's what this debate is going to be all about. It's going to be about intelligence.
So here's my thing with that. What's the likelihood in your assessment, Laura, that somehow, because the mics are turned off, people are going to see for the first time that he's not smart? That somehow is going to show people for the first time that he is a joke, or he is all pomp and nothing substantive. I find that hard to believe that now is when that happens, or that even if it does show that to the rest of us who already know, and it maybe highlights that MAGA will see it. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. I mean, this is really just a pro forma thing, and I hate the fact that they're even doing it, because it normalizes Donald as, you know, and gives him that platform. But we have to accept it. He's the presumptive. It has to happen. But his supporters, it won't change their mind a bit, honestly. So it's not going to convince anybody who wasn't going to vote for him either. So all it is this apples and mangoes display. And I don't know, maybe some of the bigger donors and people like that, maybe it'll show them, yeah, he's worse than he ever was. You know?
Yeah, maybe so. In my assessment, the real person who has anything to lose is Biden. Because there is no way, there's no scenario, there's no amount of electric shark-acution or straight up farting on stage that will stop the people who were already going to vote for Trump from voting for him. But there is this idea, unfortunately, that has been pushed by every station for clicks, that Biden is somehow shaky, that Biden has somehow has something to prove still. I think that he's the one who has something to lose, and he has to come out there blazing, like they say. He has to come out there and be who he was, who I knew he was going to be during the State of the Union address, or else it might actually lose him the election. What say you? Go ahead.
No, exactly what you said. It's Biden's to lose, or to outperform expectations, which are so low. Which I think is the more likely. I think he will really come out swinging, and that's when Donald will walk off. Well, you know, they're still acting like this is an election, and like I said, they're doing this debate pro forma to highlight the differences between them. But this is not between two people, this election. This is between Biden and his normal team of campaigning and, you know, holding the incumbency and being reelected. But the other side, it's about dirty tricks and money and everything else. It's not an election. It's fighting against their corruption and shenanigans.
And this is the crux. It's for us, it's about democracy versus authoritarianism. It's about corruption versus decency. But when you bring that up, you're talking to somebody who's flagrantly corrupt and flagrantly authoritarian, and they love it anyway. How do you beat that?
Well, they have their own fantasy ghosts that they're laughing at, and so anything we say to them that is reality, they just think is another flapping ghost. Corruption ghost, criminal ghost. So yeah, they have to have something right in their face that affects them personally. And I don't see, I mean, what does it take between the abortion, the Roe versus Wade reversal, with the COVID deaths, he's harmed people and they're still with him. So I don't know.
I have an idea. I think the way you beat someone like Trump is you have to make him beat himself. And I found something, guys. I found something. I went looking. I went to the last debate, and I found something. Check this out.
He knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. He panicked or he just looked at the stock market. One of the two, because guess what? A lot of people died. And a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So, Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word. Oh, give me a break. Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing. Let's have this debate. And if you would have had, let me just tell you something, Joe.
Did you see that? When Joe Biden said he's not smart, the vitriol, what happened to Trump in that moment was all of those years his father told him, you're an idiot. All of the bluster that he's doing it for, he could not hold himself back. He couldn't control his outburst, his reaction to someone actually calling him not smart in those words. What you need to do, Biden, every time you get on there, you say, this guy has to be the dumbest person I've ever seen. I don't believe he's graduated. I don't believe he had good grades. I don't believe that his wives love him. I believe that he was gifted money and he's ugly. He's really ugly. And the thing is, Democrats won't do this. And this is why it's so easy for Biden to lose, because him walking on eggshells means that he has to be perfect. But the minute you let the eggshells go and you go, this guy is ugly, how do you think he got Ivanka? What's her name? Ivanka is his wife or his daughter? I can't remember. I think he thinks of them as one and the same anyway. Right? When you say that, when you say it's not about corruption, it's about he's not smart enough to hide it. When you say it's not about the fact that he got money from foreign business, it's about the fact that those foreign agencies are laughing at him because they know he can be used. We're talking about the wrong thing when it comes to people who never cared about facts. They only cared about the image. He's not smart. He's not pretty. He's not wealthy. The debate is over. The minute he does that and you see Trump back there yelling with no mic on because he can't help himself, when you say, I'm so much smarter than you, it's ridiculous. My wife is a teacher. Your wife is a model. I understand. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's because you didn't have the intelligence to get someone smarter. You have to go that low. You have to say that. And I think he will crumble like Legos that hit the ground if you do that.
Yeah, you got to hit him in his weakest spots, which are the fact that he's stupid and the fact that he's not popular and he's not attractive and
Not
nobody
popular.
loves him. Yeah.
Not popular, not attractive, not smart. These are the only things he cares about. Talk about his ratings. I see your ratings have gone down. I've noticed your ratings have gone down. Did you know that my ratings were the highest for my presidential, for my State of the Union address? Your State of the Union address had horrible ratings. You have to be able to do that, which the Democrats normally can't do. So listen, watch my words on that one, guys. If you see that happening, you know that finally Joe's got someone smart on his team that realizes you can't fight someone who's illogical with logic, right? You can't fight that type of stuff with the same things. But just in case you didn't know, he has things he can talk about. And Laura, I want you to start this. There's a list of things that we were supposed to talk about yesterday that we never got to.
Well, we did cover a bit of the Maryland governor pardoning the marijuana convictions, did we?
No, I think it got cut off. So talk about it.
175,000 marijuana possession convictions were expunged or overturned or something.
Yes! Yes!
This is, I think, the largest act of clemency in decades. It's part of Biden's overall decriminalization of marijuana possession. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Wow, that is absolutely beautiful, man. The amount of families broken up, the amount of black men especially, but all people who've been taken away from their families and destroyed communities over marijuana. Like,
And yeah, and their ability to vote even on a silly
and their
charge like
ability to
that.
vote. Wow. Amazing news. What do we have next?
Let's see. He delivered remarks at Everytown's Gun Sense University this past week. I think you have a clip there.
Yeah, I'm about to play that now. Let's see that. Man, that close talk that he has, it's still weird. He's got to learn how to back up off of people, man. Poor Joe.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please have a seat. Giuliani, I know from experience it takes extraordinary courage for you to stand up here and retell your son's story. Many of you who have lost someone to gun violence. It's been a passion of mine for a long, long time. It's a reason way back, a long time ago, I authored the Violence Against Women Act, which no one thought made any sense at the time. I had a lot of trouble getting people to think we could make a difference. But the fact of the matter is, I remember well when you first started it with me, this extraordinary courage. You know, through your words, you help ensure that your son and all the victims of gun violence are not forgotten. They didn't die in vain. Through your love, you help prevent the next tragedy that saves lives. And through your actions, you remember us will never let go of one thing that we must never, never lose. And I mean this, I know it's hard, because I've gotten those phone calls too saying I lost a son, a daughter, a wife. I know what it's like.
That is another thing. I think that since the State of the Union, when he told Marjorie Taylor Gangrene that his son was one of those soldiers, he rarely talks about it enough. I think when he said that there, he might also be hitting on something that's very important. The empathy that Donald Trump lacks. You don't even have to you don't have to say that. You can just let people know his story, which is so unique. But this is what it comes down to, people. I think, we can talk politics and policy, but this is what it comes down to. If you're wondering,
the administration has been more successfully economically interventionist than the New Deal.
Close once again to the Fed's 2% inflation target. These markets that just are running at an incredible pace.
Climate investments, healthcare reforms, corporate tax reforms,
insulin price caps, prescription drug reform, and Affordable Care Act subsidies.
Groundbreaking chips and science law that's going to ensure that technologies and jobs of the future are made here in America.
CHIPS Act.
1 million veterans and survivors are currently receiving PACT Act benefits.
The PACT Act.
We leave no veteran behind. From the American Rescue Plan that helped create nearly 10 million new jobs.
The American Rescue Plan.
People in this nation, working people, middle-class folks, people who built the country, a fighting chance.
To rebuild America's roads, bridges, ports, deliver
infrastructure deal.
High-speed internet.
15 million jobs.
That's the strongest two-year growth.
Job growth.
And all this progress is part of our vision and plan and determined effort to get the job done for the American people.
Got it.
The Lincoln Project. The facts are the facts. How much more did you expect from a Biden presidency when the results have shown for themselves? I mean, we're talking about student loans have shown for themselves. Even though the courts dashed most of it away, he still tried to find a way to make it happen. Infrastructure, CHIPS Act, the veterans, the PACT Act. As a veteran, that matters to me. These things still matter. They won't matter as much on the debate day, unfortunately, but they still matter, and we can't forget them. What say you, Laura?
Oh, I agree. I mean, his best way to message that is with humanizing these issues. That's not possible in debate format.
Yeah. I think you're right. You said it right the first time. Humanizing it. The debate is mano a mano. It's a war, and you have to win that. And unfortunately, because of how it's been depicted, Biden is the one we believe. We believe this, guys, and that's what this show, I guess, came out to, is he's the one that has anything to lose. I'm not sure Trump has anything to lose unless you make him lose it himself, unless you make him throw it away by, I think, attacking how smart he is. Watching his response to that would be the first thing I show Joe Biden. If I'm prepping him for the debate, I'm going to show him every time he was emasculated by Hillary. I'm going to show him every time he responded like that, where he didn't even know what to say, and his anger rose to a fume, to smoke coming out of his ears when he was called not smart. And I would find a way to start every sentence with his IQ score, and call him not smart to his face, and knowing that he has to be sitting there fuming without being able to respond immediately. You may get him to break in such a way that even his own people see it and will turn it off, of course, at that point. But there will be no more denying. They'll just have to be okay with it, like they're okay with wearing diapers to his rallies, because at some point you can't deny it. It's just going to have to be okay that he's not smart. And we appreciate you tuning in for this debate preview. Laura, I'll give you the last word.
Vote blue, baby, all the way.
Love it. Love it. Team Drain. Hashtag Team Drain. We'll see you guys on the next one. We got another video coming out talking about the appointments to the Intelligence Committee and all that type of stuff. We'll have more things coming out either over the weekend and during the week. But thank you for joining us.